Hi, welcome to the Circuit Performance Portal overview. So this tool is an application that automates the functions of collecting information on point-to-point circuits and storing it in a relational database. It's useful for service providers or enterprise customers that have a need to look back at the performance of the network on a given circuit and correlate statistics like latency, packet loss, and throughput, and identify points in time where the network is impacting the performance of the applications. Very important for data center applications, voice over IP, any real-time application. So here we're looking at the user interface. We've got two network elements on the left and the right, and we dynamically detect the inventory and the equipment. We select a port on one node, and then we'll select a port on the other node, and we'll create an association between those two ports, or a mapping. And now we start automatically collecting the data off of those endpoints and storing it in the database. So we can go ahead and automate the process of connecting more than one port and creating circuit pairs. So we've got our two circuits here. And we now have the option of doing a manual path analysis or an automatic. And we'll go ahead and start with the manual path assignment capabilities. So we select our circuit, we click on the Analyze Path button, and we now have a list of statistics across the top, and near end, far end. So we can actually search the data from one end to the other and give you different perspectives on the transmit or receive. We just tick off the different statistics that we want to look at. So I think we'll look at a scenario where you've got throughput on a circuit. We'll start off with the near end. We'll pick the time period that we want to search or graph and display. So we'll go ahead and pick that. Let's grab some data from the database here. And we hit show graph. So what we'll be seeing is the bit rate or throughput in one direction on the circuit. And we can see we've got some variability in the throughput. And we'll just get a bit more data displayed on the graph here. So if we go ahead and look here, we see if a network had certain performance characteristics. All of a sudden it dropped off over a period of time and then sort of went back to normal. So how do we root cause this or overlay other characteristics that might indicate what the problem might be? So we'll start off with latency. We'll just click the box. It'll overlay from the exact same time periods the latency for that circuit. So here we see that latency seemed to have increased over the time period where throughput dropped. That might indicate a reason why my throughput dropped in this circuit, but it may not be the root cause. There might be other attributes or circuit conditions that we want to look at here, so we can simply click off additional stats. I'll click off packet loss and then click on show graph. And it turns out on this circuit, we can see down at the bottom, it's hard to see there in green, but packet loss was slowly ramping up to a peak and then started to drop off again over that exact same time period. So in this example, latency wasn't the root cause. It was packet loss on this circuit contributed to this problem. And we can see events before and after the degradation. It seems everything somewhat returned to normal. My throughput dropped off because my data stopped in the database. But you can see that this is a tool for interactively comparing information. We can copy it out to a file, save it to a report. We can zoom in on the time period, roll forward and roll back, and see what happened just before or just after this condition. So this could be an SLA purposes. It could be a debug tool. It could be an SLA graphing capability for a customer's network if you're a service provider. You've got the exact timestamps of all the samples, and it overlays and aligns all the statistics to a common timestamp. Now we'll move over to the automated portion of the tool where we store historical data. We can go ahead and pick the directionality of the circuit, near end to far end or the reverse direction. We can pick automated analysis functions. So here we've got correlating throughput versus latency or throughput versus errored seconds on this particular circuit. We then can pick the granularity. So we've got hour, day, or month. So if we go try and find a point in time within an hour where the throughput dropped by -1% and latency increased by 1%, that's probably in this intersection of those two statistics, it's going to indicate a problem is happening in my network. So we'll go ahead and use the defaults here, and we'll click OK, and search through all the data on this circuit and see if we can find any hits based on this criteria. So we didn't get any hits. So we would have had them listed here. I got 0 instances of that particular search. So we'll go back and expand our criteria here. We'll say 1 day, and we get a hit. So very easy to zero in on a period of time where these two statistics intersected. We could get more than 1 hit per day or per month. In this case, we only have 1 hit. In this scenario, throughput decreased by at least 1% and latency increased by 1%, and this happened within a 15-minute interval or multiple intervals within a period of a day. So here we can see the intersection visually, and again we see the before and after state of those stats. So this looks like an anomaly of some sort because the network seemed to return back to normal. But we can roll forward and roll backward in time, previous day, next day, and see what was normal compared to that event. So here, obviously, I'm just plotting some sample data, but very easy to roll forward, roll backward in time. But this automates the search of a very complex calculation across multiple statistics. It's all done with just a push of a button. This can be scheduled and run across all of your circuits in your network with an automated report telling you the number of recurrences that have happened, and send you an exception report, and save it off to a file if you need to as well. So this is an application that greatly simplifies the storage of long-term data. It leverages the capabilities of the network elements that it's polling. It gives you an interactive capability and an automated function to search and find correlated scenarios that will indicate performance problems. We've got a lot of canned reports in the tool that have predetermined analysis that will most likely turn up the most common causes of performance degradation, and will greatly simplify the process of finding the root cause of application and circuit performance. And for service providers, it's a trending tool, a benchmarking tool, as well as an SLA tool for providing